shadows lurking, whispers in the hall, stories of the past, spirits rise and fall, feel the cold around you as the fear creeps in. Welcome to the spectral place, where the haunted live, here among the ghostly space.
Welcome to a special edition of the Paranormal News Hour today. Today we are broadcasting live from the James R. Ross Memorial Studios in haunted downtown Lawrence, Massachusetts, and we're live on Facebook. Today, Bill, is an exciting time, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes, it is,
Yes.
Tom.
Trails
Yes, it
and
is.
Sales.
Trails and Sales.
So tonight, for all you Trails and Sales listeners, thank you for tuning in and helping the Essex National Heritage succeed with their Trails and Sales. Tonight's edition is going to be a little different than what we usually do, Bill. We're going to talk about haunted Essex County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Trails and Sales is all about Essex County,
Okay.
one of the oldest counties in New England. But remember this, folks, we weren't always Essex County. We were once Norfolk County. Haverhill, Newbury, and part of Methuen, and even Lawrence, because Lawrence didn't exist at the time, and Andover, because, well, North Andover. Andover didn't really exist at that time either. They split up later on. But that was Norfolk County. When it
Also
first started.
Merrimack,
And
right?
Merrimack, yeah. This whole area was Norfolk County. And then we became Essex County. And then later on we abolished county government, but in county seats, but we're still called Essex County, named after Essex County, England. And that's where most of these towns were named, except for Lawrence, was named after the Abbott brothers, but Methuen, Haverhill, Essex County itself, even Salem, you people in Marblehead, Danvers, all came from England. All counties, towns in England was, so that's what we're here to discuss tonight. So we're going to get into it a little bit. So we'll start off in down this end of Essex County, and then we'll weave our way out to the beautiful coast. And the red light district. Oh, wait a minute, were there red light districts on the coast?
Most likely for
I
the sailors.
wonder. Well, let's start in, well, you know what? New England was settled on the coast and made their way inland, so we might as well do the same thing. Folks, we're
Right.
going to start on the coast, or the toast. Let's start up in, let's start where it all, the paranormal's really strong in this community, but is it because of witches,
Where?
or is it because of shipping?
Oh,
That's the
Salem.
question to ask. Salem, Massachusetts.
Jesus.
Salem, Marblehead, Gloucester, Newburyport, Marblehead. So let's talk about that area first, because that's a very interesting area. So in Salem, I stayed there once before. You actually have
Hawthorne Hotel.
the Hawthorne Hotel. I stayed in the most haunted room, and we had things moving all night long in that room. It was a pretty cool night. We had done Essex County did a fundraiser out there. We rented the whole Hawthorne, and 315, the other room that gave people issues, were also very active that day, that night. 315, and I think it was 356. Is that the other one? There's three of them.
Yeah.
There's 612, 315. Is it 356 or 54? It's one of them.
I think it's 54.
But let me tell you, that place was exciting, very exciting. Doors were closing, everything was happening that you could think of.
Yeah.
You go to the wharf. Now, Salem is obviously, quote, and I put these in quotes from historical standpoint, and no attack on Salem at all. It's just a quote for me. Okay. Salem's known for its witches. Ooh.
Witch trials.
Yeah, so, 100,000,
1692.
300,000 people head to Salem for the month of October.
Yeah.
It's always a fun time.
Yeah.
But is it really that? Is it really Salem where the witches took place? The answer is
No.
no. You're right, Bill.
No.
The Salem witch hysteria took place in the modern. Most of the convicted witches came out of what is called today the modern day Andovers, North Andover and Andover.
Oh, it used to be all Andover.
It used to be all Andover.
Then they switched.
Danvers Village also had a large amount.
Yeah.
But Salem was the county seat, so that's where they got arrested and went to jail, got hung, got pressed to death, and we all know those horrible stories that took place. But what was the witch hysteria really about? It was really about a land grab. Do we have ghosts? Yes, there are some spirits that still roam Salem from the witch hysteria, but most of the spirits that I have seen, felt, read, or heard all came from the red light district. Oh my God. Salem had a red light district. I don't think you and I were around when that was
I
there.
don't think so.
No.
That's when the sailors were.
You and the sailors were there. So Salem was a seaport, a major seaport in New England, one of the largest seaports before Boston became what it became, and Portsmouth became what it became. It was Salem. And of course, the sailors traveled the dangerous seas, dealt with sea monsters, lake monsters, bad storms, you name it, food shortage. Some of them died.
Right.
Some of them made it to land and died. Some of them might have died in the red light district themselves because they made a mistake.
Right.
Their spirits still roam Salem today. Those are the ghosts of Salem.
And also mention the tunnels.
Yes, the tunnels.
They constructed the tunnels from the ships so they didn't have to pay a tariff.
Right.
They used to sneak it underground to the stores, bypass the tariff.
Right, and those tunnels all have activity.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of activity down here.
In fact, Essex County did a case in Salem. Haunted tours in the historic tour guide on right in downtown. I should have wrote the address down, but I did not. Central Street. 7 Central Street, I believe is his address. We went there. We investigated his building. You were with us, Bill. We had some interesting activity. I went over the evidence. Didn't get much. All the activity we caught, we saw.
Yeah.
I got to get that information over to Ian, but we'll get it there. So that was interesting.
That was very interesting.
And of course, if you take pictures of downtown Salem when you go, you might catch an orb or two. Or it might not be an orb. It might be just dust or moisture from the great ocean. But all those buildings in and around Salem all have different activity.
They have some kind of activity in them.
So, in fact,
Most likely, if you set cameras up, you would catch something.
right. You might actually, without a problem, you would catch something.
Yeah.
And these are really exciting areas of Essex County to hit. The Pinkham House in Salem, Mass.
Witch's house.
The Witch's House in Salem, Mass. The Haunted Mansion on Essex Street. Actually, when I was a member of another paranormal team, we actually investigated that place.
Yeah. How did it go?
Not well at all.
No.
Not well at all. It was. We had a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. We had noises they caught, if I remember correctly, because this was 20 years ago. We did
Any
this.
footsteps walking through?
I don't remember
or-
footsteps walking through, but I remember being, and there weren't many homes in life that I've been into on all the years being on my own with another paranormal team and then starting Essex County. I'm not going to say how that went in, but
It's Johnson.
I'm not going to say how that went through, but that's how it did it. And it's going to be real interesting when this is all
Grab a
done.
chair for
Real interesting.
I'll put it here.
So what happened was, Bill, don't move. It's going to mess up. We got somebody joining us, actually, who's we're live on TV.
Sit right here.
Okay.
So we were just talking about,
No, you sit.
haunted
I'll
Salem.
grab a chair.
Oh gosh.
And you remember what happened at that case we did. What happened? Do you remember? Salem, Mass.
Yes.
We had that very exciting case. Remember that? We're actually switching seats. We brought in some extra help for tonight's very special hour-long program. Trails at Sales, Haunted Massachusetts case. And Jocelyn was actually with us on this case, so we're going to bring her in. And just hold the mic back and forth, you'll be fine.
We can,
Central Street, Salem. You remember we had the flashlights going off? What else happened there?
A lot. We had EVPs going off.
Yeah.
EVPs went off multiple times. We had, what else? You had different things on your end too.
oh, well, EVP, I know. EMFs were high. Frequency. Radio frequency, RF was high. Those two were very high.
Yeah, so we had crazy things, right, Tom?
Yeah.
That the EVP was going off and the other wasn't.
The
right?
EMF
Remember?
meters were spiking high. And we got the flashlight to move a little bit.
Correct.
We got nothing on video. I went through all that video and got
video.
nothing except for
Weird.
the lights flashing and stuff, but no
No activity.
no activity of any sorts, which was
Weird.
odd.
Because we saw so much.
Yeah. But that happens in the paranormal.
Yeah.
We can see everything, then go through audio and video and catch nothing. Or we could have nothing happen through the whole thing. You know, we had a case once in Haunted Methuen at the Tenney Gatehouse. You had Bill with his great equipment going around, caught nothing in this area, okay, that night. We went back and checked the video, and there was an anomaly of sorts. It was an orb,
That'll happen.
but the way I knew it wasn't dust was it came up from under the organ, Bill. You just went by shortly before that. Yeah. You were still in the camera shot.
Yeah.
This thing came up from under the organ, went just the side of you, away from the equipment, went back down, came back up, and then went this way and towards the camera. We know dust don't fly like that.
No.
And we know this was the middle of January. You're not going to have too many bugs,
Not bugs.
especially since at that time they kept the
Bugs,
gatehouse at
pollen.
60 degrees.
And so that night too, we also discovered a lot of things. We were talking about different people's names
Yeah.
that were amongst us, and we got a lot of calling from that.
Yep.
They came through.
They
a few
did.
times. Daphne picked up on them. Remember?
Yeah.
Puppy.
Yeah.
We did a lot of that, which was great.
So, I mean, that was an interesting night in Haunted
And we're gonna
Salem.
do it again.
Yeah, we got to go back there.
Well, we did it already twice.
Yeah.
We're going to go back again.
Yeah. Once the season is over. Because
going
right now he's right in the middle of his busy
Oh,
season.
yeah, this is a busy.
I was gonna think about asking him to come on, but I went, I don't think he'd be able to make it on tonight because I was gonna have him call in, even make life easier.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no.
But his son was calling on things.
Yes, it was. Son was calling on things. There was a lot of things odd, but the funny part about it is we didn't catch anything on the cameras, which is odd.
No, but we caught them on everything else.
Yes, we did.
It's weird.
Well, we had regular cameras. You didn't have infrared.
No, we just had regular video cameras.
You might have caught something on infrared.
Right, yeah, we didn't set up the infrared camera, so that's a possibility. So that's one place that that night we ate at the mall, and the mall is well known for being a place to have things happen to you. People have been their hair been pulled at the mall. A couple, read about things online.
Yeah.
We never investigated the mall, but
Oh.
if you see enough of these written stories, you get kind of like, okay, let's talk about them.
Right.
But I'm going to post that we never been there. So the mall security guards I've seen doing some research on that place have actually seen people walking in there at night when there's supposed to be nobody.
Nobody.
There's the Wynwood Grill. That's in Essex, Mass. Okay. They came up under Salem. That's weird. So that's out in Essex, Mass, which isn't too far from Salem. One of the oldest cemetery in New England, Essex County did get to investigate that.
Burial ground.
And that's in Ipswich, Massachusetts.
Yeah, we'll go there.
Well, Bill, you went with us that day, but we're coming back from one of our big road trips. We got back early.
Yeah.
You went with the team at that time. And we actually met up with a historian that took us on a guided tour of the cemetery, and we were able to take out our equipment. One of the Ipswich retired historians, Donna Lee Bush. So she met up with us. We walked that. They were actually in the stairs that walk that up the hill. That's the old one that goes up the hill.
Gotcha.
There's supposedly slaves buried underneath those stairs.
Sure.
Must be a lot of activity then.
There's a lot of activity in that. I've driven by there millions of times at night. I've been in there at night 100 years ago, but I've been in there at night, and you see shadow figures and everything else. I mean, it's a pretty cool cemetery. In fact, the house I always wanted to own, folks sitting at home, here's the wall of the cemetery, and here's the side of the house.
Right next to it.
Yeah, the bedroom window of the house looks out over the cemetery.
Okay.
How convenient.
How convenient. Yeah, that is a very interesting. There's a house like that in Salem, too, at one of the old graveyards.
Nice.
Any one of those two homes I'd love to own because it'd be right next to the graveyard. I'm not satisfied just running and being the board president of the graveyard. It is satisfying that we're cleaning it up and we get activity, which we'll get to. But I'd rather live right next to it. Or, if you're lucky enough, a little out of Essex County, but we got plenty of time and we got a lot to talk about. There's this great mobile homes.
Mobile home.
Yes, there's a mobile home park in Exeter. They needed to expand it. One side was wetlands, the other side was the original town burial ground. What do you think they ripped up to expand it with? The original town burial ground went away. And so the original settlers are nowhere to be found. And they put tin cans over them. Years ago when I worked up there, I stopped one of my fellow employees from getting their daughter a granddaughter. This is one of my favorite stories to tell about the dangers of Ouija boards. So you live in a haunted tin can. The land is haunted. It's in every book in the world, right? So her daughter's now in 7th grade, and I guess all girls did this in 7th grade. Their parents got them a Ouija board to find out who their first boyfriends were going to be.
No, not all of us.
She was going to get her granddaughter a Ouija board. I had to talk her out of it.
I never had one of those.
It was supposed to be a toy.
Not a toy. That's not a nice thing to have.
That's what they advertise.
That's what they advertise it.
Mattel owned that.
If you go further in, so now we did Salem. We talked a little bit about Marblehead. Now we're in Gloucester.
Oh, in Gloucester. Okay.
Gloucester. Oh, God. Where do we start in Gloucester?
Now, isn't that the dog town there?
Oh, we got that's in the Raleigh, Gloucester area, correct. Dogtown is an abandoned village that people could hear dogs barking. Essex County went out there years ago, and I actually channeled something. And what I channeled was interesting. You have a picture of me going in. The next picture is of a female sailor. Then you have a picture of me coming out. So in that area, you've heard dogs. The guy who built Babson College put stones with sayings on it in there. So it's one of those great places.
Yeah. Well, we have to go back there.
We have to go back there. Yeah, that was an interesting place. So now we're in downtown Gloucester. I don't know what to say about those fishermen. Oh, wait a minute, I stole that quote from a movie.
What movie?
Oh, God.
One with Clooney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a no-name actor for a long time until he made it big.
Debate in that.
The ship that went down in Gloucester Harbor.
Oh, come on.
All the fishermen were.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
I can't remember.
Go. I know what you're
100-foot
talking
wave.
about. Go. Come
What?
on.
It was
Come
a
on.
100-foot
Come on.
wave. And,
Yeah, it
You
dropped
guys
the
can't
boat.
remember this.
Yeah. Right. Not
But
this minute.
needless to say, that area there, not just because of the Gloucester fishermen, that whole area, downtown Gloucester, all got activity. The old bars all have activity in there, and that's from the missing sailors. Oh, and forgot there was a red light district down there too for a while. Gloucester will not name claim to their red light district like Salem does, but there was. Long before any of us were alive. And of course, you got Gloucester, we got Salem, we're forgetting something, Bill. It's not ghostly, but it's the greatest lore.
What, Newburyport?
No, it's the greatest lore in Cape Ann. The Gloucester sea monster.
Oh.
Or the Gloucester sea serpent, the Rockport sea serpent. That has been seen since the 1890s.
By whom?
By fishermen, by people. Up until the 1970s, there was one sighting in the 80s and one in the 90s. According to the research I had done, I did a big story on this.
My dad was a Gloucester fisherman. And
Yeah.
a lobster fisherman out of Maine as well. I don't know about this person that you're speaking of, or the sea monster.
It's in a lot of books.
And he's in the last thing that you're talking about
What?
in Gloucester,
Yeah.
which was
The Gloucester sea creature.
no, it's
What?
not. I haven't found that yet. I'm not working on that. At this point.
So
Check that out.
that Gloucester sea serpent, Rockport sea serpent, Cape Ann sea monster, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it was a sea serpent.
It was a sea serpent. It was seen all the way up the whole New England coast and Essex County. There's been sightings in Newburyport, Portsmouth, Saco River area, Casco, all the way up to Casco Bay. But this was quite the interesting story.
It was, and it was a huge issue.
It never attacked any ships. But it goes.
But people spotted it.
But people spotted it, yes. They did. And because they spotted it, they saw it. And people wrote about it. And that's what makes New England so much fun, to investigate.
So, up the coast of Gloucester to Newburyport.
Up the coast of Gloucester to Newburyport, where you have the two-headed snake, the double-headed snake of Newbury. Downtown Newburyport, almost any building you walk into, if you have any type of ability or no ability at all, you're going to feel everything.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I never saw the double-headed snake of Newbury, though. That was written by famous poet John Greenleaf Whittier. From
Once
here.
upon a time,
Yeah.
hear a little poem or a saying. They told me of a sea serpent or a snake that lay quilled in a lake cabin upon the rock in Cape Ann, a boat passing by with English on board. 2 Indians, they would have shot a serpent.
Got it?
But the Indians dissuaded them, saying that they would have not killed outright, and they would be all in danger of our lives. John Jocelyn, 1638.
Ah, that's one of your relatives.
Perhaps.
Yeah, he was the
So
first
in
one to cite it.
Rockport-
Yeah.
Rockport.
Yeah, in Rockport. A
Okay,
native
that's right. Yeah, okay.
that was living in California apparently. Identify this. Rockport, Gloucester, perfect storm. Perfect storm.
That's it.
Perfect
The perfect
storm.
storm.
George Clooney. Right.
That's the last one that laid the trick of the first I didn't know.
All right.
Good.
So the next thing in Newburyport is Old Burial Hill. I did a Tom Live show from there years ago, and that place is real active.
Old burial ground.
Yeah, the old hill burial ground. That place is very active.
We used to
in
go in
there.
there at night, but now you can't go in at night.
No, but you can go in during the daytime and
Yeah.
get the same activity
Yeah.
that you can at the other ones.
Got to watch out because there's like a grave there. You can fall in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, anytime you go into an old,
People have fallen in,
Right.
in the grave,
yes.
especially at night.
Not me.
The other place in Newburyport is the Garrison Inn. That had been seen, staff members have been seeing in nearly every room a woman staring at them from behind. That must be pretty creepy at night. You're trying to serve tables and there's somebody staring at you from behind.
Yeah.
That cannot be fun at all.
Garrison Inn.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you got the Charles Street Schoolhouse. It's got children running around and an apparition of a teacher and a few other things.
Yeah.
We also have the famous, or infamous, I'll call it infamous. I've never seen anything paranormal in there.
Where?
And everybody says it's haunted.
What?
I only had one incident in there one time. Years and years and years ago, I got permission from the state police to go in and investigate it myself. And they talked about a car. A ghost car.
Like Christine.
Yeah. It wasn't a ghost car. It was just a bunch of kids trying to scare people.
Telling them.
Throw the ghost car out the window. I know investigators went there and caught stuff. I've never caught anything or felt anything at Maudsley State Forest. That's in Newburyport.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's very quick, you know.
They say it's kind of spooky, though. But
It is spooky because you got the way the wind howls over. It's a natural spook.
yeah.
There's not a lot of lighting. You know, you come into an area, you get in there, you're driving in there, it's all lit up. You're in Newburyport, the street, then all of a sudden it goes black.
Black.
I mean, that could get scary, just
Trees.
trees and,
Lots of trees.
yeah, I mean, that alone will get you scary. A place I never investigated, but I know people who have, and I'd like to get out there. Dungeon Rock in Lynn.
Oh, yeah, Dungeon Rock.
Where's that?
In Lynn, in the Lynn Woods. It's supposedly a place to hit gold
It's
or
for free.
pirates' treasure. It's free. It's you just gotta take a walk out in the woods.
So, Rocky Con. Walk in there.
Gloucester also. I had a friend, a very close friend of mine. He's still around today, but he don't live in that house anymore. So if you're in downtown Gloucester
Okay.
or Gloucestershire,
Gloucestershire.
you're gonna come up to this place called Hammond Castle.
Yes.
There are a lot of scientific
Oh,
things
Hammond
happen at
Castle,
Hammond
yes.
Castle, right?
Right.
Right next door to Hammond Castle is a house. My best friend growing up, his stepfather owned that house. His mom and stepdad got married.
Oh,
I got to stay in that house.
that's awesome.
Right next to Hammond Castle, overlooking Gloucester Harbor. Oh, sorry, Gloucester Harbor. I keep forgetting. I'm trying to get rid of that Boston accent, but I just can't.
What I know about that is the guy that owned it, he was a scientist, and his wife was into seances and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she did inside. the
Right,
house.
and they also worked on a Farragut cage in there or something too. There was scientific stuff done on a Farragut cage. Bill, for our people who are listening, even though this is supposed to be a haunted Essex County, but we're okay on time. Can you give the 1, 2 sentence, 3 sentence definition of a Farragut cage so people at home will know what we're talking about?
All right. Farragut cage. If you're inside a cage and there's electricity outside, as long as you don't touch the cage, it blocks EMF and blocks electricity too. So if you've ever been to the Museum of Science, you can see that big, what is it called? The big machine they got inside there. What's the name of that? The one
I haven't been to the Museum of Science in 30
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't been there?
No, not in 30 years.
I've been there in 10, but
10?
the electronic one? Like
Yeah, it's got the Faraday cage around the guy that's inside there,
Okay.
right? As long as he does, it's 3 million volts. But it's not the volts that kills you, it's the amperage.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, the amperage is real high.
Mm-hmm.
So if you touch that, you're dead quickly. So the Faraday cage, it blocks EMF,
Okay.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of places, a lot of laboratories, where they got the walls lead.
Yeah.
Lead will block EMFs.
Yeah, it keeps people alive. All
Well,
right.
it won't interfere with
Right.
the
The
instruments
instruments and
that
stuff.
are in the lab.
All right. Well, thank you, Bill, for that one. The next one is a restaurant in Newburyport, which I tried to get into a couple times, but to out
What's
the
the
veil. 10 Center Street.
Oh.
The waitresses will tell you, you ask any of the waitresses there, they'll talk about it with you forever.
Yeah,
And I know people went in there and they've gotten some great stories out of there.
yeah, but nobody investigated.
And nobody investigated because, the owners don't want it, which is fine. Now we're going to move a little further inland. I want to talk about something weird.
Oh,
Yeah,
go
what?
In Haverhill, there was a scientific study done on the body. And they actually did a movie after this called 21 Grams.
Oh, yeah. The soul.
The soul. This guy, Dr. Duncan McDougall, would weigh the soul.
Oh, McDougal.
And the hospital he worked at was the hospital is now the Methodist Church on Main Street in Haverhill. The hospital was torn down. So he would get poor families who couldn't afford a burial, whose people were dying of disease such as whatever, flus, poxes, tuberculosis, mostly TB patients. And then he would work with them till they died.
Oh, my.
And then the idea was when your soul left the body, you lost weight. Well, we all know he did do it. He did complete a lot of scientific experiments, but he didn't have enough done to prove anything. And then guess what happened to poor Dr. Duncan McDougall?
He died.
He died of, guess what, anybody? Tuberculosis.
It's very contagious.
Yeah. Some of his people are buried at Hilldale Cemetery.
Yeah.
But he was a physician. But he didn't take into effect that after you die, certain fluids are released from your body, so you're going to lose weight. Then gases, yeah.
Stuff, right.
So you're going to lose a little weight. They didn't take that into consideration, I don't think.
I'm going to excuse myself for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Then we got the ghost of the Tenney Gatehouse in Methuen. Remember the Tenney Gatehouse, Bill? We went there a couple times.
Look out for the wire. You got it on your foot.
All right. So we had the ghost of the Tenney Gatehouse. All right. Remember those days?
Oh, the Tenney Gatehouse. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got the ghost of Mr. Tenney. We also caught spirits from Fanny Gleason Tenney, who always talked with Joe. I think Fanny liked Joe.
Yeah.
Put that up a little further, Bill, so they can hear you. I think the spirits liked Fanny. Every time we did the flashlight, poor Fanny would show up and talk to Joe.
Yeah.
So we have that luxury with the Tenney Gatehouse in haunted Methuen, Massachusetts.
Tenney Gatehouse.
Yeah.
It's too bad we couldn't go back there.
Yeah, I know. There's a road I want to go to in Billerica. The police have told me about this road. People have told me about this road. It's called Dudley Road in Billerica.
Oh, I heard of that. Yeah,
That's not really Essex County. That's Middlesex County. But
supposed to be a haunted house, huh?
a haunted house
On that road.
on that road.
Street.
Yes. Strange legends of people who scared people for thrills. They're supposed to be pretty scary to look at. I don't
Yeah.
know much about that one.
Yeah.
That's one we want to get to. There was another house that I have to pull up my well, also too, the Henry C. Nevins Home for the aged. You can't not walk in there and not get a headache.
Okay.
Tenny Gatehouse also had the priest graves moved.
And what's the ruins up top of Tenny Gate?
That's Tenny Castle.
That's Tenny Castle. Okay. All kinds of ruins up there.
Yes. But there's one I want to get to over here.
Okay.
The old Martin House in Methuen.
Mountain House.
Yeah. It's a great location. It's no longer standing. They tore it down.
Oh, that's too bad. Can't investigate.
No. So, I actually do a talk on Martin House. And because the Martin House is tied to Lawrence, okay,
All right.
we're gonna be able to take this for a few minutes now.
Okay.
So, the type of haunting was poltergeist activity, poltergeist. The date was Tuesday, October 25th, 1963. The family was watching TV in the family room when they noticed a wet spot on the wall. They heard a pop sound, and then a water spout popped out of the wall, as if to wake, like a pipe broke.
Right.
Boom.
And water come out.
Water came out all over the place. With pipes behind the wall, water ran for 2 hours, while others were trying to figure out where the water was coming from. The spout lasted for about 20 seconds and then reoccurred in 15-minute intervals. So for 20 seconds, stop every 15 minutes for 20 seconds. City officials, fire, police were called in to examine the house for roof leaks. After hours of looking, no one could find the reason for what happened. When the water stopped, the holes repaired themselves. Wow. Imagine that. Wow. When the water stopped, it repaired itself. By Friday, a friend of the Martin family let them stay, a Martin family friend, it was actually his mother-in-law, let them stay at a house in Lawrence. That house was located on Andover Street in Lawrence, right up the road. Where are we going with this? So one witness saw a cascade of water. They don't know where it was coming from, right? By November 1st, the whole house had water. So this has been going on November 1st, 5-6 days. Family moved to his in-laws' house, and then the newspapers got wind of the story. Blew it up. And then
Blown out of proportion.
Right, and then one day, guess what? It stopped.
Stop.
The poltergeist activity stopped without calling in
Yeah.
the Warrens or anybody like that, but they would have been busy in 63, because wasn't that the same? Yeah, it was right before the,
The assassination of
no, well, before that, but also the house down in Connecticut, the most haunted house in America, that they're doing the new story on.
Poltergeist, Connecticut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that house there.
Yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden it just stopped and went away. The title, and it's been in books called Water, Water Everywhere.
Right. Well, we know today that poltergeist activity can be caused by two things. It could be an agent. Usually, it's a girl from between 6 and 10, and she's caught when she gets distressed or whatever. Under stress, she can cause things to move, fly around the room, stuff like that.
Right.
Now, how do you how do you get rid of, if you want to know if it's a girl or not, all right? It could be an interdimensional being doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a poltergeist. What you do is you take the girl out, and if nothing happens, a couple of days, and then when you bring it back, and something happens, then you know it's her.
Right.
All right? But if you take her out and it's still happening, you know it's not her.
Right.
Okay? So you can eliminate the girl. So and one incident at a factory, everybody hated their boss. Okay? What was causing the poltergeist activity in there, things thrown at the boss and stuff, was everybody in there
Mm-hmm.
was causing the poltergeist activity inside the room. 7 of them
Right.
causing the activity and things being thrown at the boss and stuff. So it can be just one person, or it can be more than one person, all
Right.
causing the same problem.
Exactly. So that's interesting. Also, too, Witch Hollow Farm in Boxford, Massachusetts, part of Essex County. Privately owned. Many books. Description: a beautiful, maintained colonial farmhouse in northeastern Mass, built in 1666.
For the witch trials.
Yeah, the house had been known haunted place for many generations of the Mary Tyler, who was condemned as a witch of Salem in 1693 and had lived in the house as a young woman. The most Mary had recent times been to the late Arthur Pinkham, who lived in the house in the mid-20th century. He spoke and wrote extensively in his memoirs, continually seeing the ghost of Mary Pinkham. Was the grandson of Lydia Pinkham, the inventor of the famed women's tonic and medicine.
Tonic
Pinkham,
and medicine?
yeah, Pinkham medicines.
that's-
You'll see the old glass bottles from Salem say
Yeah.
Pinkham
Yeah.
on them.
Now this cured everything. It's like snake oil.
Well, it did.
Yeah.
You know, some of it was, 95% this alcohol, 2%, 5% ether. That'll cure everything. Because I've actually seen some of Lydia Pinkham's bottles with they still actually had their labels on them with
Yeah.
what was in them. And I almost died when I saw 95%.
Alcohol.
No, yeah, and then 2-3% of ether. Ether will kill you just
Oh yeah. There'll be enough of
and we're not talking bottles this big. I'm talking
little bottle.
little bottles.
nips.
Yeah, little nips. Small. I mean,
Right.
it's real interesting. And then, of course, you have in Havel, you got Winnikinny Castle that's haunted. Apparitions have been seen on the land, Native
I imagine
American.
John Whittier, but they won't let anybody in. So we
Correct.
could investigate that, but they won't let us go in, so we can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
No, we cannot go in there.
No.
But Canosa Lake, the Canosa Triangle in Havel that goes from Monument Square down to Merrimack River, and then the other way up towards 108. There's 5 burial grounds in there. All got activity, every one of them. So, I mean, Essex County, wherever you go, it's the oldest county in the United States.
Yeah.
And it proves itself. We are definitely New England.
New England.
We are the new of the old England in many ways, shapes, and forms, including the paranormal. So,
Well, when the English came over here,
yeah,
right, they named almost everything like back home, the streets and stuff in the cities, just like they did in England, because they missed England so much that they want to name all the streets and stuff like back home. So that's what they did.
and they did it forever. I mean, and of course, when you have all the stuff that can go on in this, the wooded areas and all this other stuff, it can get scary real quick out there. I mean, you got a lot of spirits floating around. a lot of spirits floating around,
Yeah.
especially here in Essex County. It is the oldest county in the world. Well, in the New World, I should say. We're definitely not as old as Scotland or Ireland.
Ireland.
Yeah, those
Haunted
counties are.
Ireland.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Like all the castles they got
Yeah.
in Ireland.
You never know. Maybe just there's that one day chance that someone will give me some milk and a 2x4, and I'll wake up in Ireland.
Ireland.
Another place that had some.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's where I like.
Another place that had some activity in it. Oh wow, this got turned around. I better check the book out because I use this thing.
Pennsylvania.
But I know a little bit about this stuff, so it's Turtle Mound in Andover.
Turtle Mound.
It's right on 133 off the Lake Cochicowick.
Chickawick.
Cochicowick.
Chickaway.
Yeah, it used to be privately owned. So when I was in there, it was privately owned with permission. They went there with my old team, the team I was part of. And it's quite an interesting, it's a rock outcropping, just like you'd see at Stonehenge or the Danville Beehive or any of those.
Paddle around there.
Oh,
But this is shaped like a turtle.
like a
And
turtle.
I wasn't a channeler at the time, but I remember Maureen Wood was there. She was with New England Ghost Project. That's who I was with, Ron Kolick at the time. She actually channeled inside the turtle.
Chickaway.
Yeah. So it's a pretty interesting location. I couldn't get on there for years, but I just was doing a talk this past year. I don't know. Every day goes into the next for me. I did a talk on New England stone walls and outcroppings and stone structures. And I found out that the town of Andover was given Turtle Mound, so it's now part of the Lake Cochicowick
Around there.
bicycle, walking, non-gas driving location.
Well, that's where they drinking water.
Yeah.
They drink the
So-
water.
There's no gas-powered boats in there. It's all
Yeah.
No swimming either.
no swimming, no dogs.
No, nothing. But I will probably head out there once the weather cools down if we get a second to breathe early next year. Because I want to get back there because I still had. I was only
walk there all the time.
I was only there once.
Oh,
The
come
Turtle
on.
Mound.
Turtle Mound. That's where we want to go.
And
There.
I want to go back there because there was some interesting stuff that happened that night that I don't really want to talk about till I can basically prove.
Well, I want to get the metal detector in there.
Right, exactly. And
Look for
because
artifacts.
if you remember correctly, Bill, when we did that in the first place, we went up to the one in it's 1,400 years old. Danville, the Danville Beehive.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have your metal detector, but boy, was that soil got metals in them. I mean, we've proven that without a
Got
problem.
magnetite.
Magnetite in there and stuff that don't really belong in that area. So it's going to be they say it's 1,400 years old. Stonehenge is older than that.
Yeah.
But we know for a fact, talking to people in town, there are more of those type of stone structures, but they're on private property. And of course, nobody's going to put their addresses out there because no one wants
You'd
to.
have to ask permission. to
Knock,
go in.
knock. Hi.
We were talking about going to my parents' house.
Yes.
which
That
is up
too.
in Goffstown,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So it's a whole nother situation.
Yeah. Named after Jeffrey Goff. Which is part of Merrimack River, but not part of Essex County. But that's all right.
Well,
The next place on the river is a very odd location. We actually were supposed to have gotten this location to investigate. Never got it, but I did get some information about the location. And 2 years ago, I did a Tom Live show from there. It's 47.5-acre piece of property in Groveland.
oh,
Yeah, called VZ Park.
oh, of course.
It's not the farm.
No, it's the park.
Park, you know where
Yeah.
Okay.
it used
So-
to be the old nun
Yep, Nunnery.
Used to be a nunnery.
Yeah, it's the top of Nuns Hill.
Yep.
There's activity in the kitchen, the small room off the dining room, living room, the basement kitchen. That's what people picked up when they were in there. Got some EVPs, people, but I never got to listen to them. The people told me about it. So it's 47 acres. The sand and the river rock were left over from the Wisconsin ice glacier melting.
Wow.
That's when it reformed the Merrimack River. And then it's near Johnson Pond, which is 80 acres. The creek flows from the pond, 75 feet all the way to the river. Natives use this as seasonal fishing, so there were some Native American spirits I picked up there. The small cottage at the entrance of Wabaduki, and in 1950s, the land was purchased by the Little Missionary Sisters of Charity. And then October 3rd, 1996, VZ Park got its name. It opened its doors. But the original house is still there. And I was in there for a meeting with the Historical Society, and it was a non-investigative meeting.
I've done art shows there. I kayak there.
So you know the...
Yeah.
But in that house, while I was having this meeting, because they still wanted to keep the paranormal team for now that's there at the time, and I haven't heard from them if we were going to
That's
get
where Ron
that.
Golek goes. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You got it. But I said, okay, fine. I did a talk for them to raise money on Robert Rogers. And while I was in there talking to them about the talk, you know, because they wanted to know what way it was going to go because of the controversial of Rogers and Hannah and all that other stuff, another day for another show. Actually, not really, but I felt like somebody wanted to come out and wanted to chat with me. I just wasn't in the mood for channeling with nobody around. Well, there were people there, but not my inner circle of protection. So didn't end up channeling and kept it cool, got the talk done, and everything was great. So that's VZ Park. I almost forgot one thing in Haverhill. They don't allow paranormal teams there anymore. But I have so much evidence of paranormal activity in this location. It's called the Dustin Garrison House. Located not too far from Haunted Hilldale Cemetery.
One of our residents or family members.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Weird, huh?
Yes. That is located on the Dustin Angle. The Dustin Garrison House. It goes from downtown Haverhill, the angle starts, goes up Little River, up through 125, behind Westgate, where the other, not Westgate.
Westgate in the sense.
No.
What's behind there?
No, the one in Plastow.
Oh.
So it goes up Hilldale Ave. There's been UFO sightings all the way up that way. Then you come out at the top, you got the ice cream stand.
Yeah.
I don't know what goes on there. We avoid that. Then you get, you know, the train tracks that run behind Hilldale?
Yeah.
We've done houses all the way along those train tracks, all the way through Sandown, and I know investigators that have gone up the Main along those train tracks. So I actually called that the Dustin Angle in Massachusetts.
I've heard that.
And the Sandown Triangle in New Hampshire, in Sandown. But yeah, that goes right through Plastow. We've done a ton of investigations along those train tracks. And it's all different stuff. It's not the same stuff. So it's not like this is just going from one house to the next because it's riding the train. No choo-choo riders.
Yeah.
Choo-choo riders not allowed.
No.
Right.
So that's another location where we actually caught Mrs. Dustin in there and other family members.
Yeah, so I remember once upon a time, you connected those things for me, right?
Yeah,
So I'm related to the Dustin family.
yes.
You want to mention Portsmouth?
No, it's out of Essex County. We'll mention that in another show. This was strictly for Essex County. And you know, it was a great show. We talked a lot about Essex County. I hope the people at home and who will watch us over the next week or so during Trails and Sales. Now, remember, folks, Trails and Sales is going till next Sunday. So this week, check the guide out. There are a lot of great events. I'm doing the Bella Building Tour Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock in downtown Haverhill. There are other events going on all week, even right now.
With Civil War Friday?
Civil War Friday, 2 to 3. Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. Because of the rain out this weekend, we will be at Haunted Hilldale Cemetery. Friday night, we will be talking about Lovecraft. Saturday night, we're going to be doing equipment. And Sunday is going to be a surprise of surprises.
Yay!
Yay! So come on, make sure you get out this weekend and
Hand
enjoy.
your phone a little more.
Make sure you get out this weekend.
So all of us are always there.
Yeah.
We are. Oh,
And make sure you enjoy. Yeah, make sure you enjoy what goes on. It's going to be a fun night at Hilldale. It always is.
And Patty may or may not come. I'm not
Patty
sure.
might show up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But Patty is our amazing pet psychic, and she's always there for these events. And if she's not there, we can always give her your card and go from
Yes. So it'll be a fun time. Hope you show up this weekend and this week for Trails and Sales. And this show's going to be up all week. And please tune in. Tell your friends about it. Tell your families about it. And we'll be back live next Monday for the regular Paranormal News Hour show. And don't forget to check out our YouTube page for the Paranormal News Zone and the Paranormal Zone, which is really picking up steam. We got a great speaker coming in this week. They'll be live at the studio. Next week, we're returning a guest from down south.
Okay.
Just booked her back up, Sheila Renee Broadway, who was originally from the most haunted parts of Massachusetts. And that's not in Essex County, folks. Essex County is really haunted. But there's this one area that just outshines it a little bit. She's from the Brockton area, which is the Bridgewater Triangle. She grew up in the Triangle, and her name is Sheila Renee Broadway. So we'll have her on in 2 weeks.
Now, is she a witch?
She does a little bit of everything, and she's starting her brand new podcast show.
Awesome.
So Bob and I are going to have her
wait to
on
hear.
one more time. That's a great, she's always fun. You can go back and listen to all the podcasts that we do have up there. We're almost up to 30 podcasts, 30 straight weeks in a row and going strong. It's a commitment, but it's a fun commitment. And other than that, if you guys ever have any problems with the paranormal, you need to talk to somebody, you can always reach out to the Essex County Ghost Project. We're always there. We have a pretty quick turnaround. We're lucky. We have some team members that are retired, some that are semi-retired, some that work day jobs, and then me, who's all over the universe in any given day of the
we're
week.
not in the universe within your town, we have people that you can connect with.
Right.
Okay? So there's always someone.
So
to
within
connect to.
24 hours, we will be either there or get you connected to start the helping process out. We're one of the only teams that does that. Most
Yeah,
teams
we will
take
connect
forever.
you.
All right.
So we help you out. Best way to reach is by cell phone, 978-376-2807. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. This was a great show, a real great show. Thank Jocelyn for popping in. Bill, thank you.
Always here.
We're having a great time. We've been having a great time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And I'm heading to the crypt to go to sleep. This is the Crypt Keeper
Good night,
signing off.
everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good
And
night.
thank you. And remember, Trails and Sales.
In shadows lurking, whispers in the hall, stories of the past, spirits rise and fall. Feel the cold around you as